Hi, Pastor Herson here with Hope TV, helping out people everywhere. Today I'm excited that you could be a part of a very special program. It's a one-on-one interview with Pastor Jesus Amaru. Today you'll be hearing about my personal relationship and friendship with him that spans a little over 6 or 7 years. You'll be able to hear a little bit about the man himself, his family, his ministry, his successes, and yeah, even some failures. But that's what makes us children of God. We're not perfect. Each and every person that you read about in the Bible has had amazing successes, but also God did not find it worthy of deleting or omitting their mistakes. We all make mistakes. Mine have been very public. We've talked about them here at Hope TV. But God always brings you higher. God always has a greater plan. And so stay tuned to watch what you're going to see. I think it's going to be a very honest and very good conversation about the love of God, the grace of God, and the plans of God for your life. Stay tuned as you'll hear this conversation with me and Pastor Jesus Amaru. As promised, here is Pastor Jesus Amaru in the flesh. Pastor, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Very good. I'm happy to have you here. One of the things that impresses me about you, as soon as we spend more than 5 minutes with you, the only question is where in Puerto Rico you're from, because you are truly Boricua. It comes out of your ears.
I am very Puerto Rican. Boricua de clavo pasado.
What does that mean, very Puerto Rican?
Oh my God. I got the mancha in the back. I got everything. Go. I was born in Rio Piedras. Actually, I spent a lot of my childhood in St. Thomas Virgin Islands, which is something that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I grew up, the first almost 6 years of my life were spent in the Virgin Islands.
Do you do the accent and stuff? Do you get it?
Oh, I can do that, man. Oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can speak a little Creole too.
Really?
Yeah, very little, but I can.
But if they spoke it around you, they'd be
they'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
So they better not talk about you while you're there.
No,
so
absolutely.
Whereabouts? It was St. Thomas, was it?
St. Thomas Virgin Island, and I actually lived in the State 22 area.
The what now?
State 22, TOTO.
Okay.
Yeah. And from there we moved to Puerto Rico, and I lived pretty much most of my life in Caguas and Ponce. I graduated from high school from Caguas. I went to the University of Puerto Rico. And
you went to U.P.E?
U.P.E, yeah, at U.P.E, and and I was one of the F.U.P.E guys.
Okay, I guess that's an inside joke.
If you're from Puerto Rico, you know what I'm talking about. It's
all right.
Federación Unida de Pro Independencia.
Oh.
It's
students
like
a militia.
No,
is that a militia?
Almost. It's students that believe in the independence.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
No statehood, no.
It's Puerto Rico independent.
Okay, all right. Well, wow.
Federación Universitaria Pro Independencia. That's how it goes.
Wow. Now, when did you get to know the Lord? Was he a part of your life? Whole life?
No. I grew up Catholic. I grew up in a practicing Catholic family.
Okay,
went through the motions.
No. Someone that's watching, the question is, when did you get to know the Lord? You said, no, I didn't grow up. I grew up Catholic.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. I knew the Lord all my life. My relationship with him changed when I was 17. But I grew up Catholic in a very...
Confirmation?
Very Catholic.
You did your confirmation?
I did
all
my motions. All the
CCD?
I did the youth, the Catholic youth, the CYO. I did CCD. I did catechism. I did all that good stuff. And when I was 17, I went to a service in the summer. The year I graduated, I went to a service. A friend of mine invited me, and I was really into art and theater and all that stuff, and they invited me.
Acting art or theater?
Acting.
Really?
I was an actor all through high school and part of college.
You're part of productions and
plays.
Really?
And there's actually a couple of the productions that we did actually went into the main theater in Caguas.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a good experience. It was
Did
nice.
you sing and stuff too in your plays?
I sang, and
really?
the plays were actually they were actual plays.
Okay, so they weren't musicals.
Spanish plays. They were musicals. Okay. They were actual plays.
Okay.
A couple of main characters. Good stuff.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah, and so they invited me. I think lured me because of the fact that it was an acting thing, and I went to do their makeup and get them ready and stuff like that. And then is when I was introduced and answered many of my questions about my belief in God and my relationship with Him. That's when I then came to that relationship with God, and which brought me to where I am today. And I was 17 years old.
Now, was there, and I want to be careful about this how I form this next question, was there some fallout between you and your family, the folks that were staunch Catholics, when they saw you take a move to Protestantism? Was there any kind of rejection?
Nope. No, actually, in my family, they always taught us that we need to serve the Lord, and that whichever way we chose to, they will be okay with it, so long as, so long as their faith, that our faith did not go, completely against their faith. So they didn't want us to turn around and now say I'm a Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
But so long as we believe in Jesus, my dad was pretty fine with it. And actually, it was my brother and I that came to the church first, and then my family actually followed us. And my father actually became a deacon in the church and all these things.
Now you're the oldest of.
I'm the oldest of 5.
So it's yourself. Then you have who?
I have is myself. Then my brother Ricardo. He's about a year and a half behind me. Yeah. Then my sister Martha. She's about a year and a half after Ricardo.
Busy parents.
There's 6 years between Marcy and Jimari, which is the other, and then there's 7 years between Jimari and Annie.
Whoa!
So I'm 17 years older than my youngest.
So you're more like an uncle to your youngest sister.
I'm more like like
a dad,
like a
really,
dad.
because your dad passed away.
Well, you know that in our culture we ask for bendición.
Yes.
My sisters do that to me because that's the relationship that we have.
Well, because you're that much older.
I'm that much older. Yeah. I remember when I was in the police, my sister used to take me for show and tell.
Did you say you were a part of the police?
I was a state police in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you a good cop, or you kind of?
I wasn't a very good. I was a kind of cop that make you eat it, and you don't want to be arrested, then you can eat it. And,
really?
Yeah, I wasn't.
Really?
It wasn't good, yeah.
Wow.
I had a complete different temper back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so something must have happened from 17 coming to know the Lord.
Well, I met Jesus Christ in the altar that day, 17 June 11th, 1986, and it was an experience like no other. And I actually had some experiences with the Lord in my house previous to that. I had experienced His love and that fulfillment of that feeling of His Spirit in
it really is wonderful, isn't it?
And it's amazing, especially when you don't quite yet understand, but you're going through it, and you're like really seeking for more. So that's why that experience at that church was so important in Caguas for me, because that just gave clarification to what I had already experienced with Jesus Christ. The problem is that at a young age, I was, even though I grew up in, doing nothing, I grew up very sheltered.
Really?
I was, I would go play basketball with the kids, stuff like that, but many things didn't really go through my house. We were kind of, like sheltered. We were in the house. We
strict,
go out with mom.
Traditional.
Strict
parents were.
Dad.
By strict meaning you don't have a lot of leeway to get out of the house.
I mean,
everybody.
That's how it was, and that's you go to the movies, stuff like that, but everything was ours and stuff like that.
Sure.
Very sheltered. When I started in the University of Puerto Rico, I decided to join the Navy, and that's when my relationship fell. And I really struggled to get to turn back into my relationship, even though I was already seeing my wife, and I knew
you were already talking to Sarah.
I've been talking. Sarah's my middle school sweeheart.
Stop that.
22 years married, 7 years we've been.
Stop
7 years.
Yeah. That is the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
27 years we've been.
I hope we have a picture to put right here so you can see how beautiful his wife is.
She is gorgeous.
She is,
She's
and
a woman of God.
Equally as beautiful on the inside. I mean, just
absolutely
wonderful lady.
Wonderful.
So you're telling me that you started talking to her, dating her when you were in middle school.
Yeah.
And to see you guys today, it's like you guys just met last week. You really are all over each other still.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I love my wife. Yeah, 22 years, thank the Lord. Wow. But, when I joined the Navy and you start experimenting other things and the world kind of opens up to you, I had a really bad falling out.
See, I got a million questions here for you, because I was very always in church, and I fell away but stayed in church.
Right.
So it's very different.